recording before I start my spiel. Welcome to the Best Boys podcast. This is episode 4. I am your host, JP, aka Slop Thomas, and I'm joined by my brother.
That's me, Kory with a story. Also known as Kory Picavish.
And we're here taking a journey through pop culture and film history, becoming more well-rounded men because of it. And that's what we're doing here today. We're learning, we're yearning, and we're taking the journey. We're doing it. Best boys, Pit Bros.
One of the best.
So
two of the boys,
one of the best. Yeah. So welcome back if you're joining us. If you're a returning listener, and thank you. Welcome if you're new.
Welcome.
Kory. So Kory, you work in the film industry. You were out of town last week or so, in the city of Angles. I really liked that joke last time, so I'm gonna probably
the sharpest city on the planet.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep using it. Beat it down, beat it dead, and yeah, you've been busy lately. You were just telling me about that you've had a really grueling week. You want to tell us about it? Tell the show. So Kory, you work on the show Euphoria currently, correct?
Yeah, I shoot behind the scenes for a few of their shows, but we had to do overnights, and it was just long. It was so I haven't done an overnight in a while, and then we went from 8 to 6 a.m. and then I had to go straight to the airport, and LAX is always just a shithole, and I just couldn't sleep on the plane, and so I just was up from and then the day of the night shoot, I had to take my girlfriend to the airport at 4 a.m. So I've been up since I was up from 4 a.m. Thursday.
Oh, that was
until I went to bed last night at midnight, and I maybe got about an hour of sleep on the flight, and I am just, whew, I am ready. My body is not. I'm just dying, so dying. But it was cool though.
That's good. I got a good workout this morning, so I'm raring to go. Got my green tea.
Ripped and ribbed.
I'm ribbed and I'm ripped. I'm ribbed for your pleasure, and I'm ripped. So what? Oh shit! I had my Facebook just sitting up. What what do you want to do first? So today is probably part 1 of a future series of Taika Watiti, as we've both seen a few of his flicks already, and we're fans of the guy, quite frankly. Kory, have you just seen Thor? Have you seen anything else from him?
No, Thor was it, and then actually Thor Ragnarok was the only one I've seen from him.
Okay, I have seen Thor Ragnarok, Hunt for the Wilder People, I think is what it's called, Jojo Rabbit, and now Boy. This is the second time. The second time I have watched that, and this is the first time I've seen Boy. So I've now seen and I've also seen What We Do in the Shadows. So
I've always wanted to see that.
Yeah. Well, next time we do him, we'll have to do that. So as someone has only seen his mainstream flick, which was, I mean, honestly, his style is all over Thor. His delivery of humor, like the way he does jokes and the way he does delivery of lines, like the Korg and Meek shit is so Taika Waititi.
Oh, it's the best part. Yeah,
and that's my favorite part. So if you like Korg and Meek, if you're just a regular film goer, you're not some snooty, film school person, and you've seen the MCU, and you loved Thor Ragnarok, And if your favorite part was Korg Meek like me, you will love his other films. Just because that humor is throughout. Some of them are a little more humorous. Some of them are it's a little balanced. I was actually surprised in that with Boy. I expected, because Jojo Rabbit I thought was funnier than Boy. But they have both strengths. I compared them both. They have strengths, and they are very similar. And I have me and Riss talked about it for like, for half hour, 45 minutes last night. It's just like, if I had to pick one, which one do I think is better? And I like stuff about both. And I consider them, I mean, they're both coming of age tales for young boys.
Yeah, I'm actually glad we ended up doing both these two because they have to do with kids.
Hunt for the boys. Yeah. Hunt for the Wilder People also is coincidentally it's with Sam Neill, but the lead is a young boy, and it's actually, if you've seen Deadpool 2, it's that I forget his name in the movie, but he's that like portly New Zealander kid.
Yeah. He's the one that tries to pair up with Juggernaut.
Yes. So Hunt for the Wilder People is how that was his claim to fame that got him into Deadpool 2. Taika Watiti apparently like vouched for him to get him in the movie. I read. Yeah,
that's Deadpool 2 was good. I liked it as much as the first one, that's for sure.
I didn't like it as much as the first one, but I also watched it on a plane and I was a little cranky.
That'll do it. Yeah, I'm trying to not watch movies on planes just because I feel like I'm more annoyed by just being on the plane than anything, and that's gonna bias my opinion a little bit.
David Lynch would probably agree with you because he doesn't want you to watch movies on phones. Watch it on your fucking phone. You ever see that video?
Who the fuck wants to watch a movie on a phone?
So which one do you want to talk about? I feel like we should talk about the one at a time, and then I definitely would love to do a point comparing them, because since this is his most recent film, I mean, it's almost a decade later, and 2019 versus 2010.
Yeah, I'd say let's start with Boy, just because to see where that same
I agree.
style has evolved.
That makes the most sense. So let me change the title.
Boy.
So what did you think about Boy while I do all that?
Can we, anytime we say the title of the movie, say it like Kratos?
I didn't play that game.
Oh man, you didn't play Boy?
Boy the game?
Boy 2. Coming out next year.
Boogaloo?
Yeah. Boy. Well, overall thoughts. How about let's start there? I'll start. I love this. I had no idea what it was going into it, and this was so fun. I couldn't stop. Like the whole time I'm watching, I was just thinking like, this is adorable. And Taika Waititi puts himself in all of his movies in pretty big roles, but honestly, I understand why, because he's great in it too.
His sense of humor, he's really good at conveying his style of humor himself. And then I think that like kind of feeds onto the rest of the cast. Especially Jojo Rabbit, you can really feel that. Like everybody other than Scarlett Johansson is very in his style. I guess even her, but yeah, Boy, it wasn't quite as like out loud funny as I thought it was going to be. It was still funny, but it wasn't. It's not a comedy. It is it's a drama. Yeah. I would say it's definitely a tongue-in-cheek, lighthearted. It's an indie mix of genres. I was a big fan of it. I kind of initially thought I was getting Napoleon Dynamite little bit vibes in the intro and the graphic design of the title sequence and the credits. It came back in the credits, but it's definitely its own. It's not like that. It's not like that. It has the humor, and it has like the mixture of genre. I did really like the intro, and the credits we'll get to. I don't want to spoil that quite yet. So it's about two brothers that are raised in a house with a bunch of their cousins by their grandmother. Their grandmother or their mother is dead.
She
and
died while giving birth to the younger boy.
yeah, Rocky. Their names are
Boy,
Alamein, but they call him
yeah.
Boy, and Rocky. And the dad's name is also Alamein. And yeah, so the dad apparently, it's hard to know what is like legend and what is true because like the boy is a little bit of a fibber or exaggerator.
Mhm.
Um, and I just
He
pulled
looks up
up.
to.
I just pulled up on the screen the mother's grave.
Mhm.
But it's hard to know if he's an exaggerator. And so he talks about his dad breaking out of prison. The father is played by Taika Waititi, and he they dug out with a spoon and he killed the guards with a spoon and then when you see him in the car later and he turns the key to the car, it's a spoon. And I thought that was pretty funny. But
Yeah,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah, I love the like, like he's a deadbeat dad, but it's the whole childlike, like my dad's the fucking greatest. My dad does everything. My dad
Yeah,
is so fucking cool. You have no idea, and I'm
yeah,
cool because of him.
yeah.
Uh,
I'm like him, and he's cool, and he's cooler than your dad. And you wish my dad
yeah,
was like your dad.
and
Um,
for the first half of the movie, you kind of feel that way too. Like I'd say, like when you like when you do meet him, it's just like, oh man, he really is fucking cool. And then,
yeah, he does seem cool, but I mean, he's a little bit like he's like James Dean cool, or like trying to be like biker renegade cool. And then the more
yeah.
you learn about him, the more he sounds like an idiot and a piece of shit. And he's really bad influence on the kids.
But he's a crazy horse.
Oh yeah, the animation. So with Rocky, Rocky really likes to draw. He thinks he has superpowers, which is my favorite part of the movie. Every time he talks about it, it's so adorable and funny.
Mhm.
But when the dad shows up with his friends, yeah, Luggo My Uggo, thank you for this. There's an animation. Sometimes it'll randomly show Rocky's point of view as his drawings, and it shows him like as a monster like approaching the house. Like he's a little wary of it, and it seems like Rocky and Alamein the senior, we'll call the son Boy, and we'll call Alamein the dad. Boy, that sounds
Boy.
bad. And so there's like this weird animosity between Rocky and not weird, it's like quiet, like they don't know how to deal with each other because Rocky feels bad that when he was born he killed his mom, which is probably something that Boy told him. And I think that he's really quiet, and there's just very awkward moments with them. But they eventually, as of course the movie, they kind of soften up a little bit, but it's still like Rocky's wary of him, and also at the same time, I think, because he hasn't been there, and Boy kind of figures it out later that like he hasn't been here, and he should been because he's your dad.
Mm. I definitely like the animation, like you were saying. I love that it's usually has to do with his superpowers. It's like what he's seeing in his head, superpower wise, that's happening. And then you get these little brief moments throughout the movie where like he goes to do something, like he throws his hand out all the time, like this to fucking be like,
Yeah, like force
and
stuff, like Jedi
yeah, like he's a
mind
Jedi.
trick, or
And so
or
in this scene where this picture is from on the stream, they're pretending to be like trench wars, and then like and Boy and fucking oh my god, I just had his name and lost it.
Alamein, or Rocky.
Alamein. I wanted to say Amelie from last week or from 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Alamein is they hop it, and Rocky's just left back, and he's he's just like, what if I like shot at Dad? And he does. As soon as he does it, Dad trips. Or,
Yes.
Alamein
Yes.
trips. Or he'll put his hand out, and they go hang out by this little like river thing, and there's this guy who they call Weirdo. He's like this like large man who stumbles around on his own.
He possibly special, but he seems pretty with it.
Yeah, I would say I got that he was just normal. He's just a loner. but he puts his hand out to like knock him over, and the dude like falls back on his ass, and it's kind of like at one point I was like, is this gonna have a twist at the end? Does Rocky really have superpowers?
I
But
thought that
it
too.
was
I
cute.
kept saying like maybe they're leaving it out there, like he may actually have some, but I think it's just a
Yeah.
coincidence and being a kid. Because there's a couple moments like you said where it was like coincidentally something happened when he was trying to do his power thing. Like, oh, I'm
Mm.
sorry, I made you slip. No, he's like, you didn't do that. uh,
So what the fuck are you talking about? You're the weirdo.
I thought, so it was made. It came out in 2010. It looks a little older in that, but it's probably budget related.
It was probably shot on like older film cameras and film stocks, because it definitely like
Looks
has
more
that
mid
more late night.
2000s.
I was gonna say early 2000s, late 90s kind of like great film grain to it. But the movie looks gorgeous though. Like this looks absolutely phenomenal, and I love it. That it is ooh, for New Zealand, is it the same as Australia that the natives are called the Aboriginals?
They're just Maori.
Maori, gotcha. So yeah, I like that they do like Maori, and it's not just like normal white New Zealand culture, but you're getting like the native stuff, which I thought was super cool. Also sad that they live in such poverty in this movie, but it also kind of helps like bring out a lot of the comedy and the lightheartedness.
Yeah, the entire cast are Maori, I think, maybe a couple
The
exceptions like
one
Mr.
guy,
Langston
the
at the
teacher,
school.
yeah.
There were like cyclists that would ride by and they'd all be white. But yeah, mostly people of color. Everyone is of color. In the film, obviously, Taika Watiti is himself. So it kind of juxtaposes it. And there's a controversy that Jojo Rabbit got into, and I'll bring that up later. Being what it is, dealing with Nazis, and it's kind of being silly in this silly, lighthearted way, making fun of them. And does that trivialize the seriousness of the atrocities that they committed, and versus this is their own story, and it's still like heavy. This is a very heavy story, but it's very lighthearted in that way. Like there's drugs and crime, and people get beat up, and there's violence, and these kids are having a poor life, but it's also like the humor in it, and we kept talking about how there's this childlike humor, like the adults, like obviously the adults in his films you kind of are like silly, like kids, a little bit like kids, and the children are always trying to act grown up. Like Boy and Jojo are both trying to act grown up and like men. Today, Jojo, you be a man. So, but not to focus too much on that. But Boy is the same way. Like Boy is trying to be like, I'm like my dad, and I want to be in the gang. I'm old enough to be in the Crazy Horses. That's the name of their gang, which is 3 guys. Yeah. Oh, Boy loves Michael Jackson, but he's not a very good dancer, and his dad's apparently this legendary dancer.
Real quick, there's a scene where Boy has this crush on this girl named Chardonnay, and he's like trying to talk to her and spit game, and he's just like, "You want to see my Michael Jackson moves?" And she's just like, "Huh?" And then he goes to do them, and he's just kind of just like wiggling around, and it is the most like kind of cringy but adorable
Super
thing I've ever
adorable.
seen.
Super
It's
adorable.
so funny. But I was gonna say to that, I wonder if it's just like both of these movies, the reason why they're so lighthearted with deep stuff is you're seeing it from the child's perspective, not just like we're following the kid, but also the way that they see everybody. Because obviously, anytime there's like big shit going around, the kids, they either go inside or they like go away, because kids usually aren't around the more heavier stuff in day-to-day life. Obviously, they are at times, but just like that's usually when parents are hanging out with their kids and stuff, they're acting more silly and more kid-like to try to get along with the kid. And being from the child's perspective, I feel like that's why everything just seems more lighthearted stuff. Because obviously a kid isn't gonna realize that especially the person that he's been waiting to come back is like not gonna realize he's just a deadbeat stoner who just mooches off everybody and and is actually just trying to get his money back so he can re-abandon the family.
Yeah,
Um,
that's what it is. And then I think Boy realizes it at some point, and he's like, maybe
yeah.
I shouldn't give him this money. And then the goat eats it.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh man, I knew that was gonna happen. As soon as he
Me
put
too.
it
He
under
called it.
in the truck with the goat, I knew it was gonna happen.
I said it too. I was like, soon as I saw the same thing. I was like, goat's gonna eat that. Um, yeah,
It's
I
a gross
really
thing to
enjoyed. I really enjoyed it. Had that same, like you said, humor. A lot of it is like, and it's how you're talking about with how children view serious things. I think that's a really good point. Because it's like their interpretation of horrible things, and it is always a little bit softened in your mind to rationalize it, or it's like a child like turning things into monsters, or everything's more fantastical. There's magic can still exist in your world.
Mhm.
So that kind of, you try to use that to rationalize and explain. And with Boy, it's with your dad and why he is the way he is, and he's cool, but he's not cool. And you get swept up in how he is and his culture. And then at the end of the day, you realize when he's going to leave you and you're going to be the same, that he's kind of an ass. And he sucks as a person, and you don't want to be like him. I kept thinking about when he told in the very beginning of the fight, Boy gets into the movie. The boy gets into a fight with one of his classmates, and he goes and talks to the goat about it after school, and he tells the goat a way different version of the story. And he's like, "I didn't get in any fights though, because I'm a good boy," and just was like, oh, like he really wants to be a good kid, and he really
Yeah.
in his heart, like that's the way he wants to be viewed, and he cares about that. And there's a second female character, young girl character, that has her friends help her pick weed to give to drug dealers to sell. And
Yeah.
at one point in the movie, Boy fucks her over by telling his dad about it. And he was giving his dad little bits throughout the movie, but then tells the dad where it is when he can't find his stash of money. So I guess we didn't explain this. The whole like second and third act of the movie is the dad digging and looking for
Like $900 that he like.
yeah, $900. Like it's a lot of money to a poor person, yes.
Well,
But
and that and this takes place in the early '80s too. So
that's what I
900 bucks
thought
in the
about. I
early
brought
80s
that
is
up too with inflation. So it's still that's like what, 3 months of life, between rent and food, and I'm sure weed and booze and
Yeah.
everything. Like that's not gonna save you. I guess it could get you out of there if you wanted to fly to somewhere else and start over. So it doesn't really ever come up that he's on the lam again, though, right? Like after the prison
Well,
break thing in the beginning, do they ever say it again?
so the kid says it's a prison break, but Taika Waititi never actually, or God, I keep wanting to say Amelie. I don't know why. But
Alamein.
boys, Alamein. God damn, it's like a dyslexia thing or something.
Yeah.
Alamein. But yeah, Alamein, he never acknowledges it. He doesn't even acknowledge that he came from jail or anything like that. It's never touched upon where
He
he was before.
he does
Uh,
say when he's they're first digging with his two idiot buddies, and
oh
he's like,
yeah, he said he
"This
ran
is
from
where
the
we
cops.
were
Yeah.
running from the cops, and this is where we put the money. We buried it when we were running from the cops." So like,
Yeah, but I didn't take it that he broke out though. It sounded like he got released because he wasn't really giving a shit about being on like doing anything or staying undercover because he's just like he's still drinking in town and hanging out with everybody.
yeah, I mean it's the '80s, and you could get away with way more than
Mhm.
now. But even then, like it's not like it's the '60s, and you could. It's
Yeah.
like, oh brother, where art thou? But that's how old is that? Isn't that movie in like the early 1900s?
Oh
Uh,
yeah, that's definitely in the
like
late.
you could break out of prison and start a new life because there wasn't a grid, a information grid. Okay. Trying to think. So the woman who runs, the actress who runs the convenience store, she's in a lot of his films. She's in Thor. She's not in Jojo. She's in Hunt for the Wilder People. She's hilarious. She's in Soul, actually.
Mm.
She's one of the like metaphysical. They're not god angels, but there's some kind of super beings in that movie that run the afterlife, and she's one of them, and she's pretty funny in that. She didn't really do a lot in this. She just ran the store and had a few scenes, but
She has like every job in town.
apparently,
uh,
yeah, apparently, she's the heart
she,
of the town. She
yeah,
plays one of the main guard to Jeff Goldblum in Thor Ragnarok, like his
uh,
like first officer. You know what I'm talking about? She's got a big
yeah,
stick.
yeah, 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 yeah.
So I wanted to pull up the grave again because it's one of my favorite things of the movie. Is how they drew on it, and it made me think of the grave from Amelie. Where is it? Like it's all this, like he brings stuff like toys and things. You
Mhm.
just drawing all over it. I imagine Rocky's done most of
Yeah,
this.
yeah. I was gonna say Rocky's probably doing all the drawing.
There's definitely Boy and Alamein seem to have some kind of like apprehension, or they haven't let go about this woman's death, mom, and the mother of the kids. But also, Alamein was already out of their life by the time Rocky was born. So, and
Hmm.
like that's what Boy says, and starts like punching Alamein towards the end of the movie,
Yeah, he's
realizing
like,
that he was like, "You were
eh,
gone already. Like it had nothing to do with her death."
yeah.
But in the end, they kind of at the very end of the film, they all sit around the grave and kind of have this moment together, like it's almost like closure a little bit. Um,
Mhm. The. Oh shit! I just had something to say to you about that. Oh yeah, in the fight, it's kind of like once he has that realization, then he starts going back, like being nicer to his friends again, because he starts being a dick to his friends, because like he's like too cool for school with them, and then he like when he finds the money, he like steals his dad's gang jacket and buys everybody freezy pops, and tries to be like a hot shot, and then his dad just shows up in front of his friends and just like rips the jacket off and yells at him in front of everybody and embarrasses them, and um, I felt real bad, but it was cool that he like you can see that the tide was starting to shift when he started taking care of the kids at the house again. Um, like it's like
yeah,
tucking them in bed and stuff, and where because he like stopped doing that for a bit, and then that's when he started doing that. That's
because
when I was like, oh, he's not realizing that his dad's a piece of shit.
yeah, and I think it was he assumed his dad was gonna like help out a little bit. And
Hmm.
he just stayed in the garage and had wanted nothing to do with any of the other kids besides his
Yeah,
kids. Um, yeah, there was a turning point when they were sitting on a bench, and he's like, I kind of like don't like being called dad. Do you mind? And he's like, would you call me Shogun? And so like through the rest of the movie, it's Shogun. He's reading a book called Shogun. Shogun's written
yeah,
on his helmet. Like everyone's calling him Shogun now. It's ridiculous. There's like these fantasies that Boy has of his dad doing things. Like there's one with his dad at war, and like in a foxhole or something, doing a haka in a foxhole, and
yeah.
um, and then like later on, it shows him training to be a samurai because he told him apparently Alamein told Boy and Rocky that he was leaving to Japan, and they just find him sitting at the mom's grave.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I liked it a lot. It was a good mix of
It's
humor
super cute. I
and yeah,
definitely
super
like his
cute.
humor. Definitely my kind of humor. It's just very silly, and I also like, and this might just be because we're American or whatever. But the accents, I feel like, definitely lend to the humor as well, like the inflection of how they deliver questions and stuff. And he's like, it's like Taika like knows the strengths of how that is on other listeners, I guess. But I don't. It's so funny. I smiled most of the movie.
I see. I thought that too. And then Jojo Rabbit, where there's no New Zealand accents in the entire
Mhm.
film, except for obviously Taika's terrible German accent, whatever he's trying to do. But it's just funny. It doesn't matter because it's funny.
Yeah.
Um, and like yeah, you don't have that. And the delivery is kind of still there. His style is still very apparent in that film.
Mhm.
With actors comedy actors like Rebel Wilson, and then you got Sam Rockwell, and Alfie Allen from Game of Thrones. We'll get to that in a minute, and we'll get to that like just in a second. But I think we need to give Boy a score. I think we're ready. Unless you have any other thing, let me look at my notes because I kind of been I have a lot of them, but I've been freestyling a lot.
Yeah,
Um,
I've look at my notes. Oh,
uh,
I forgot to say this. Man, do I feel bad for the actor that played Boy because they fucked his hair up.
Oh my god, yeah, yeah. No, that was
Oh
so
man,
funny. It was pretty funny. It wasn't like that bad, but then he turned his head, and I'm like, oh, it's so
just
bad.
bald patches and shit. Oh, he went from being such a cute kid to just like, oh, just shave it all.
Oh, I did want to say the with them harvesting the weed. I didn't notice it the first time until she handed the drug dealer the bag of weed. I just noticed the corn because it was like mixed throughout, and then the
Mhm.
next time they did it, it was weed everywhere, and I thought that was really good. I think that had to be intentional because it was like kind of hidden and secretive, and I didn't know exactly
Yeah,
what they were picking.
when they first did it, it just looked like they were picking seeds to just plant new things, and I didn't really think anything of it.
And then yeah, the then she hands the drug dealer the weed bag, and then I was like, oh, that was weed. And then they go back to it. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, this is what they were doing before. That
Yeah.
was really well. There was a couple shots that stood out to me. With Rocky on the rollerblades, and he rolled up to touch Alamein on the face. To like do some kind of magic power thing to him,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he had
He's got his
he
little
had a
cape on and
sparkler
stuff.
in his hand, and it was just this smooth, like the camera moved smooth along with the rollerblades, and it looked so good. Like I'm sure it took a little time to set that up,
Mhm.
and I thought it looked so cool. I thought it was shot really well, but nothing crazy.
It
Um,
was very clean. Like, no hard light, everything. Even though this is, like, definitely hot, sunny days, like, the way that it's, um like, the way they pulled the highlights down, on the film is just it's very, like, soft. It's very subdued, and, like, it's very easy on the eyes to watch, and I like that a lot.
all right,
If it fits the tone.
what are you thinking for Boy?
I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5.
Yeah, honestly, I felt my initial inkling was 4 immediately. So, and I still think I've been struggling with myself between 3.5 and 4. Not because 3.5, I still liked it a lot. But I feel like I'm giving everything 4, and I'm like,
Yeah, I realized that too. Well, we've been picking nothing but really good movies, so
and
it's
that's
like
what
it's
this is going
hard.
to be about. I realize that we're
Yeah.
not going to be watching stinkers all the time, but these are, I figure, acclaimed movie. Do we think it's as good as people think it is? All at the same time, we're
Mm.
learning about what people consider good. I think if you're doing that, you're going to end up with a lot of, it's going to be just 3 to 5. You're not going to have a lot of ones and
Yeah.
twos. Unless, I mean, if we're going to have, I'm sure we'll have episodes where we go through filmographies more, and we'll hit duds in people's filmographies, or if something new comes out and it sucks, that will probably be bad. But I have a feeling
I
there's
mean,
going to we're pretty much stuck between 3 to 5 watching a
I was
lot of
gonna
these movies.
yeah, I just looked on the letterbox to see what we gave Army of the Dead, and it was 2 and 2.5. Um, but yeah, there's not gonna be a lot of Army of the Deads unless we have just like a nice
We take a
bouquet.
break, watch something bad on purpose.
Yeah, which I do
Which
like
we
doing.
will, which we will. I want to make sure we don't just do, like, I want to make sure we do old stuff and film school stuff, but I also want to make sure that we have fun. Right now we've kind of been riding the line with new acclaimed things, and Taika Waititi, his films are such
Yeah.
easy watches.
Now,
The runtime of Boy, hour and 27 minutes.
loved it. It
Chef's
was perfect
kiss.
length.
I'd honestly, that is what took it from a 3.5 to a 4 for me, is because I'd watch this again because it was so short. I'd show it to anybody. Like if
Yeah.
you want to see an example of a Taika Waititi movie and not have to have a 2 hour investment. Jojo is an hour and 47, I think, hour and 45, something around
I
there.
think it's 1:48, hour
One
48.
so it's not like super long either. But I think that we'll get to that in a bit. But I thought that maybe it could have been even shorter, really. Um, but all right,
The
So I'm gonna go. I'll say 4 also. I'll say 4 also. But honest, if we're really, 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 narrowing it down, I'd probably say like 3.75. But for the sake of letterboxed system and our own system, I will say 4.
Now, would you think that this movie would be as good if the keep all the same actors but replace Boy with somebody else? I feel like that he like him like obviously Taika's really good, but like that kid's performance is I feel like makes the movie, and I feel like if it was cast any differently, it would
I
still
think
be a
Boy
good movie,
and
but
Rocky. I think Boy and
like
Rocky have excellent performances because
it's just cast so
Rocky's
well.
extremely subdued and deadpan, and
Mhm.
it brings so much humor to his lines. And it's not a hard challenge for a kid that little to deliver lines like that. But Boy
Yeah.
was a very good actor.
His
Um,
name is James Rolston.
yeah, James Ralston. Apparently he still works in New Zealand in New Zealand stuff. Um, he's a lot older now. um, but yeah, his performance was excellent. The very end of the film, they do a thriller kind of
Oh,
remake,
they
but
do a
they
Bollywood
mix it.
ending.
But they mix the thriller dance with like a Maori haka. So it is this cool mixture of Maori and American pop culture, and it's super
It's
super
a
cool.
straight up Bollywood ending, and I love it because most
I didn't
Bollywood
think about
movies
that. It is kind of
that way.
Bollywood. Um,
They all ended musicals during the credits with the whole cast.
yeah, you're right. Oh my god, that is a
I thought
Bollywood
that was
ending. So that is a triple threat of cultural mixture, and I like that kind of shit. And that's what we get, with hearing these voices from all over the world. And I'm me and Riss watched most of a movie a few months ago called Whale Rider I think it's from the mid 2000s, and it is also all about Maori people, and it's about this
mm.
girl. Um, Luca just said I thought it was an 80s thing. Um, but yeah, this movie does take place in Boy does take place in the 80s. I don't think we said that. It's 1984.
I mean, Slumdog Millionaire is a newer film, and that also has the Bollywood ending of
Oh
just dancing and
yeah, you're right. You're right, and that's a Danny Boyle movie. Danny Boyle, the
yeah, it's like an
Trainspotting
Indian
guy.
cultural thing.
Yeah, no, we should. Slumdog Millionaires on the list. But yeah, me and Riss watched Whale Rider, and it was also all about Maori culture. So if you like this movie, I would suggest that as well, because it was very good. All right, we're ready to move on?
Yeah, let me switch over to other one.
So let's talk about 2019. This is so I saw a bunch of films in the winter and fall before quarantine. Yeah, so 2019. So I saw in theaters. I was going to the theater all the time. I saw Blade. I don't know if Blade Runner was in, but I saw that. But I also saw Uncut Gems. I saw The Lighthouse. And I saw Jojo Rabbit. Um, I loved it. I bawled my eyes out the first time. Actually, I don't know if you got an emotional hit from it, but it was also, just for some background, our mother was in the final stages of cancer and passed away just a few months later. So I was definitely feeling that sort of thing. Trying to get this. There we go. All right. So what did you think about Jojo Rabbit?
Also, phenomenal film. I'm debating whether I feel like I found Boy funnier, but this one I thought was a better movie, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah. Okay. I think I
um,
thought this was funnier, but sorry. Yeah, continue.
I think it's just because I like the casting of Boy, like the kid who played Boy, and the interaction between him and his dad. I thought was funnier than the stuff in this kid. But this one had I feel like more tradi- more traditional humor. But was it good? This is just a great ensemble cast.
Great cast. Great
I love
cast. Nobody outshines
Sam.
anybody.
No, but Sam Rockwell's my favorite in this movie.
Yeah, Sam
Um,
Rockwell's awesome,
I love
especially
all
towards
the
the end. The ending act. Sam Rockwell is awesome.
yeah. I
Um,
love that they hint towards him being gay and stuff throughout the movie, and then but they never explicitly like
Never
let it
say
out.
it or never let. Yeah, yeah. It's like
He's got his
repressed.
stripes and everything. He's got his what is it called? The fuck is it called? Um,
The things that
oh
dangle from
man.
your arms. I forget what they're called
Yeah,
too,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but
It's like
yeah,
Cowboys have it. I
yeah.
had Cowboys have it coming from them and
Tassels.
tassels. Yeah. Oh my god, and his cape and everything with his heavy eyeliner and eyeshadow and stuff. It was so cool. I
Yeah,
loved it.
he was awesome, and his with his gun, and then his assistant with the phonograph beside him
Yeah, playing the
uh
bad music.
playing music to distract the enemy. Um, yeah, the humor. I think there's way more humor in this. It's just a heavier subject matter at the same
Mm.
time. So it's like it's this juxtaposition of that. But yeah, is the humor is cranked up. Rebel Wilson, everything she said made me laugh.
Yeah, she's
Every
good.
line she had was hilarious. She said something
I
about
loved
like I mothered 15 kids for the Reich.
it was 18, yeah, 18
18, yeah.
for Germany, and all the girls just looking at us just like,
Oh my god.
"Fuck."
Oh
I
my
loved
god.
oh, fuck, I just had something about it too, and I can't remember, but oh, I love that she points her gun at everyone she's talking to. She uses her gun like a pointer and just
Yeah, yeah, yes,
throughout the
yes.
movie, and I thought it was
Yeah.
hilarious.
So the premise of the film is Hitler is Jojo's imaginary friend. And it's like Jojo's sanitized just like with Boy and Alamein, this is like Jojo's sanitized version, childlike interpretation of what Hitler must be like. And there's a lot. It's very saccharine. He's very funny and silly, and he's fun. And he's like, "Let's go on an adventure, Jojo," and it's really cute. But then there'll be these moments where he's like, "Yeah, but you can't be cool with Jews, Jojo,"
Yeah.
and like it'll randomly come out and just go, "Shit." And he like offers Jojo cigarettes all the time, and
Oh my god, was that one of the funniest parts is he's just constantly offering this
I'm
10-year-old
sorry,
kid,
I'm sorry.
but at the same time, it's the kid's imaginary friend, so it's just like,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know.
and
It's like, "Sorry, I'm just stressed out. What do you want me to do?"
there's a scene where Hitler is eating a unicorn, and Hitler was a vegetarian, so it shows the fantastical imagination. Like this isn't the real Hitler.
Mhm.
This is a boy's thinking of him like a superhero or something, like a comic book character, or like I guess more like a folklore thing or something to liken it to Americana. Um, there's a heavy use of Western music, 60s and 70s mainly. But I heard like there's a 90s song from Tom Waits. And a lot of them are German language versions of the
Mhm.
pop culture songs. So at the end is there's David Bowie Heroes. There's a few Beatles songs, I think, in the beginning of the movie. And that was an interesting choice. Like, what did you think about that? That really gave it a Wes Anderson vibe. This film is super Wes Anderson feeling, with
But
like
without all, like, like, symmetrical, like,
it has like
framing
the
and
colors though.
yeah, yeah,
And
I get what
like
you're saying. It's
yeah,
not, like, shot doesn't have the same, like, composition for framing and camera movement, but visually, it looks a lot like Moonrise Kingdom,
yes. I was gonna
but
say that. Yes.
which I loved. I was like one of the first things I wrote in my notes was just I love that this is a World War II flick that looks like like a poppy like um happy-go-lucky movie, and and it almost feels like that until it's just until like every couple minutes you just get hit with that, like not even the Nazi imagery that brings it back to reality, but just you just get hit with the anti-Jew stuff, and it's like, oh yeah, we're still in World War II, still
Yeah.
these
Well,
people are still assholes.
I have a note that just says "Moonrise Nazis." uh, if you needed to describe this film in a sentence, that would probably be it.
That's
Um,
good.
so I found out why he chose to make it so colorful. He apparently did a lot of research about the end of the war for this film, and he said that Germany, even during the war, was a very vibrant and hip and fashionable place during the war. So like he said that he in a lot of World War II movies, there's they often interpret it like very dark and dreary, and everything is horrible. But there's still regular people like living their lives, trying to resist from the inside, and try to survive and get through this and help people where they can, which is where Scarlett Johansson's character Jojo's mom comes in,
Hmm.
which her performance was very, I would say, eccentric, especially with her main scene, the dinner scene, which
Hmm.
we should get to in a little bit. Um, her performance was solid. I wanted to bring up Alfie Allen from Game of Thrones. He plays I forgot his name, but
Is it Yorkie?
no, Yorkie's the little boy.
Okay,
Alfie
I
Allen
didn't.
is the assistant to Sam Rockwell. Sam
Oh, it's
Rockwell's
either
character.
Finkel or it's either
Finkel,
Finkel or.
yeah, that might be it. But
Um,
yeah, he's from Game of Thrones. And great. I loved his performance as well. Just because he had a small part, but it was like memorable to me. Um, Amazon. I watched this on Amazon, and they have fun facts sometimes, and it told me that Sam Rockwell was featured in an Academy Award nominated film 3 years in a row. This would have been, so 2019 was his third year in a row being nominated for an Academy Award, and being in an Academy Award nominated film. So he 3 billboards in Missouri, or whatever the fuck that.
oh, that's supposed to be really good.
Yeah, it's on the I don't think it's on the list, but I'm gonna put it on the list because I forgot about it. Um, that was one. I don't remember what the other one was, but I thought that was interesting. So yeah, this is towards the end of the war. It's post, Hitler attempted assassination. It is literally the last days of the war. Are seen. Um, as much as it's as much as the I get the criticism about it sanitizing something so heavy. I really think it's trying to speak to children's interpretations of
Yeah,
heavy moments
this.
in time and history. Like think about
Yeah,
a child's interpretation of today between political unrest or the pandemic or whatever. Um,
yeah. When it's like the
it
only thing on your mind is just making your parents happy and having fun with your
Having
friends.
fun, yeah, having fun, and
Yeah, that's what I was saying about Boy. The same thing. It's just this whole thing is just from it's not just from his perspective story wise, but just the way every character is written and their dialogue of everything is written. How a 10-year-old boy would interpret and hear it. You know what I mean? Um, and I didn't feel like it was desanitizing. I just felt like it was like, I mean, imagine you're a kid who's just caught up with all this shit where you're the ruler of your country is considered like a god, and like you're told your whole life because you're blonde and blue eyed that you're part of this perfect like thing, and you're just happy go lucky. And yeah, I like that he was. There's a one line with the Jewish girl Elsa. That she's just like, no, you're not a Nazi. You're just a 10-year-old boy who likes swastikas. Like, I thought that was just so good.
yeah, I wanted to make sure we brought up Thomas and Mackenzie's performance, who played Elsa. Her performance also was very good. Like her story, which is really the main emotional driver of the film. Scarlett Johansson is hiding her away in their home. She's with the resistance. And Jojo had a sister who died, and so Elsa's character is staying in the room, and there's a little compartment in the wall that she stays in when she's supposed to hide from Jojo. Um, great. Also a great performance. I saw that she's going to be in Edgar Wright's new film with Anya Taylor Joy. I forgot the name of it already, but it's supposed to be coming out this year. Um, and so I'm excited to see that as well because it's a great cast. Matt Smith from Doctor Who fame is also in it, and I'm really interested in seeing what that is because Edgar Wright is the man who's also on our list.
Yeah, I'm
Big
watching The Crown with Kylie right now, and
Oh yeah,
Matt
Matt
Smith's in the
Smith's in
first.
that.
He's
Yeah,
in the first
yeah.
two seasons. Prince Philip.
You didn't get into Doctor Who that deep, did you?
No, I never
No,
really watched
it's
it.
it's fine. It's good. But yeah. So let's talk about a couple key scenes I wanted to make sure we hit. Um, there's in the beginning of the film, he kind of goes to this like Hitler Youth, like Nazi Boy Scout camp, and there's some like teens. I think those are actual Hitler Youth. I think Hitler Youth are teenagers,
Mm.
and they are trying to tell them to kill a rabbit to show teach them how to kill and kind of desensitize them to death.
Mm.
And Jojo refuses, and then he runs away, and then his imaginary Hitler kind of talks him up again and to come back, and he runs and grabs a grenade out of Sam Rockwell's character's hand,
Well, they're in
and
the middle of grenade training
yeah, grenade
as background.
training, and he just runs up, grabs it out of his hand, and it explodes in his face. So he has scars on his face, and he's
Yeah.
healing, which is what puts him at home, which is how he figures out that there is a little girl staying in the house, in the walls. I thought that's kind of what sets up the second
Mm.
the next couple acts, the rest of the film really, because Jojo can't participate in the military. He can't be a soldier because he's been injured.
Yeah.
So he feels inadequate compared to the others. So the second scene I want this scene I thought is one of the most worth discussing in the film, which is the dinner scene with Scarlett Johansson, and she Jojo's being very resistant to her what she's talking to him about. I don't know, stuff about life and shit. And Jojo's like, fuck off, mom. You're just a woman, or you don't know shit. If my dad
But
was here, if my dad was here.
yeah, at this point, Jojo has met the Jewish girl hiding upstairs
Oh,
and
that's
knows
true.
that, and then so he knows about it, but Scarlett Johansson doesn't know that Jojo knows, and so he's being that like he's like, oh, why aren't you eating dinner? And she's like, oh, I'm just not hungry. I'm gonna drink my wine. He's like, oh, well, I'm extra hungry, so I'm gonna eat yours.
Oh,
Me
that's right.
because
That's
obviously
right.
she was gonna save her food to give to Elsa. And so he just starts like poking the bear like that way, and then
She puts on
say
this
to
like performance. It felt like a vaudeville performance. She puts on the dad's war jacket and puts some coal on her face to make it look like a mustache, and she's
beard.
like starts pretending she's like being the mom and the dad at the same time, because that's literally what she is right now.
Mm.
So it's like it's definitely symbolic, but it's like this. It's not. It's eccentric in this eccentric performance she gives, where she like switches back and forth, and it's very cute, and she's doing the best she can, as I'm like getting on through all this bullshit on with the war and everything, and she's trying to help people, and also raise her son, and her son seems to have he spends a lot of time alone because of she's always out doing stuff, um, and yeah, it's like it's hard, and I don't know, I really enjoyed that scene.
Yeah, it was really good. The when she's just like the whole talking to herself thing. It's like at first I was like, did she snap, or is she just doing this to like you know be silly with? Because I think she when she slams the table and yells at him, I think that's the moment of like she that was real, but then she realizes it and then creates this whole little thing to kind of keep Jojo from thinking that like she's like actually like yelling at him, because I mean she obviously understands where he's coming from because he's brainwashed by into all the like the Nazi stuff. Um but I don't know, it was good. It was cool. It was very I feel like it made it humanize it was a humanizing act to kind of give Jojo perspective even if he didn't get it right away. Um just kind of like where she's coming from with everything.
um Yeah, I agree. It was like it was silly and playful, but it also was like I feel like her expressing a little bit in a very unique, very progressive. I feel like gender wise way. Yeah, there's a lot of like like modern things that kind of poke through. Um, And like the gay storyline, which is it gets fun. It's kind of like a fun storyline, but it's like that would have could have very well happened. This is all could have very well happened, but it's definitely like stuff from today kind of becomes relevant through this lens of Nazi Germany, living in like Berlin, or I don't know what they don't. I don't know if they say what city they live in.
I
But
assume it's Berlin because isn't that where the final like raid and everything happens?
yeah, but
Um,
I think Hitler kills himself in
but I
Berlin,
don't.
and
Yeah,
they reference it happening somewhere else.
yeah. I
So
didn't. Hmm. Well, I imagined I just took it
I
as
think it
like
was just
there
a
because
nameless city.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that would either way it would work because I just took it as like because Berlin is so big, it's just it's on a different part of the town. It's kind of like how every big city is made up in different boroughs and subsections and towns and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but oh man, the shot even at the end, this kid was such a Hitler fanboy that whenever Yorkie tells him that Hitler's dead at the end, like he's still just like, what the fuck? Like, and meanwhile he had like this whole film, he's like really coming around on the whole like Nazis are bad thing, but then it's like that breaking the fantasy fully, where like the guy that who's you're literally your imaginary friend, and when the imaginary Hitler does come back, he's a bullet hole in his head.
And he's
It's really
crazy.
funny.
He's like extra crazy and desperate. And then in the very end of the film, Jojo kicks Hitler out of his room, and I think that's supposed to be like,
Just flying through the window.
yeah, like it's shedding off, your imaginary friend. I'm too old for this. And then
Yeah.
there's also a theme of tying shoes come up throughout the film. There's a
Hmm.
lot of shots of feet, and like not in a Tarantino way, but I think in a thematic way, because there's multiple moments where JoJo's asked to tie his shoes and he needs help. But in the
Hmm.
very end of the film, he ties Elsa's shoes, and they're his mom's shoes.
Yeah.
And I guess we didn't say this, spoilers, but in the third act, Scarlett Johansson's character is discovered. They don't even say anything. You just there's a scene where a bunch of Gestapo show up and try to look around, and then the next scene, a couple scenes later, he's found his mom hung, and all you see is her feet, and you recognize those shoes. And he's crying at her feet, and that the first time I saw that destroyed me.
Oh, it was so sad. I didn't even see it coming, to be honest. Which is probably naive of me to think, but I definitely was not ready. At least in that moment, I thought there'd been more of a build-up or something. But it's just he just stumbles across like early in the film, you see that there's this part of town that is where they string people up for execution, and then he's just walking through that part of town again, and he just notices the shoes, and yeah, oh my God, was that sad? It was real bad. But
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
gonna say. So I went to the Holocaust Museum in Paris, and they have this room that is just filled with shoes, and it's supposed to represent these were all the leftover shoes from people that were sent into the chambers and stuff. And I don't know. I was at first I was thinking that the shoes, like the keep coming back to that, was kind of maybe referencing something into that, but maybe it was just all just a lead to the uh, like the transition of the motherly role from Scarlett Johansson to Elsa. Um, was
Yeah,
probably
she's like
more.
his big sister now. Like he does say he loves her in like a romantic way. She talks about this boyfriend that she had, or a fiance that she has named Nathan, and he writes these really cute fake letters
Yeah,
to her. They're trying to say that Nathan broke up with you and stuff, and um yeah, he like tells people he has a girlfriend, like Yorkie, his buddy with glass. He's this little boy, little chubby boy with glasses.
I
And
refer to him as 10-year-old Nick Frost.
he's so funny. Oh my god, every line that kid had was hilarious.
Does
Um,
he not look just like Nick Frost though? Like,
I don't think he looks like Nick Frost. I don't.
really? The guy
No,
from Simon Pegg's
I
buddy?
know who Nick Frost is from Shaun of the
Oh,
Dead.
oh, he
But I
looks
don't
like
think
he
he
could
looks
be
like
his
him.
son.
Be in the ending there, so in the end the Americans and Russians come, and there's this last stand of the whatever people want to fight. And so there's like people, there's like men, old ladies, and these old shepherd men, and guys in suits, and there's children fighting, and it's very ridiculous looking. And that's when Sam Rockwell's. So we talked about the scene already, but Sam Rockwell shows Jojo, and right before the battle, this design, like blueprints for this battle suit, and it's got all this pageantry, like we said, tassels and feathers, and it's rainbows, and he's got this gun with a phonograph attached to it, and he explains it's like a child. This is very much a child's rendering of like what they want to look like in battle. And
Yeah, like it's a child's drawing, like straight
it's
up.
straight up child's drawing. It looks like Rocky's drawings from
Yeah, yeah.
Boy. And then so you just like, okay, this guy's fucking losing it, or he just like, I'm gonna die, so I'm gonna go out how I want to go out, and it does, it's all for naught and whatever. So in the final battle, he is, we said he's in this outfit that he designed and showed us in child drawing form, and it is the funniest part of the movie. And like, yeah, these people suck, but they're also like, the Rebel Wilson's character, Rom, I think is her last name. She's a bad Nazi, and I mean Sam Rockwell's a Nazi and probably deserves to die, but he saved Jojo in the end, and told the soldiers that he was a Jew, and to save him from being shot by the American soldiers. And it's like this little, like, there are good people out there, and I get that would soften, Nazi's a Nazi, and Nazis deserve what they get and for participating in that shit, but there's people caught up in a thing, and you don't know what they're doing or what they're dealing with behind closed doors. And I'm fine. And Sam Rockwell's character got, they got what a Nazi gets in the end, but they had that noble deed to, like, make you think, make you feel a little bit like, should they be, should this person be killed? And I can see how someone thinks that softens Nazis. I could see that perspective. It's not invalid at all. But I don't think that that's what I'm taking away from that. Like, I don't think it makes Nazis look less bad, or just like, the notion that people say about all cops are bad and there's no such thing as a good cop. Well, that's got to be even more so for Nazis. There's no such thing as a good Nazi. But
after he like lets Elsa go with the birthday thing, I just took it and like in the thing at the end, I just took it as like he's he's a Nazi, he loves his country and all this stuff, but it's just like I just took it as like not every person in there was down for every aspect of what the German army was doing. It was like a
more
like just because because especially with him being gay, like clearly he doesn't care about, like, or it's clear he like isn't down with like the exterminating of certain peoples, because gays were rounded up in there too. So that's what I took it as, like he's he's hiding himself, so it's not just like he's any other Nazi or whatever. So that meaning like I just took it as like he understands where Elsa's coming from. It's just like, I'm hiding too because I'm gay and an officer in the German army.
Well, I was also thinking it's the end of the war, so like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't really matter. Like, we're all a lot of us are gonna be dead in a week, weeks or in days time. Yeah. So I guess I wanted to talk about the Gestapo scene with Stephen Merchant.
Oh, that's that funny. That was just
There's
so.
like 6 or 7 agents,
I
Gestapo
think it
agents,
was
and they all
5.
individually Heil Hitler.
Yeah.
So it's just like, Heil Hitler, Heil Hitler, Heil Hitler, Heil Hitler, and it just goes on for like 5 minutes. And this scene in particular, I think, really is poking fun at the stupid habits of the cult-like habits of the Nazi Party, Nazi Germany, and how silly they were, and just having fun, making fun of them, and I mean, it was serious, it was tense, because you were worried for Elsa and Jojo and their mom. Like, all 3 of them would probably be killed if it was found out. It wouldn't just be Elsa. And it's terrible. And I don't know. That was probably one of the funnier scenes. That kind of broke things up, and it was like the sign that things were starting to go bad, really go bad.
Mm. I just love the opening the door the first time, and it's just like "Hail Hitler," because that guy is like has such a nice, like nice guy voice.
Yeah,
So
Stephen
it's
Merchant.
so
Yeah,
yeah, because he's so tall, and when he stands over Sam Rockwell, he towers over him.
yeah.
Like they
Sam
do a
Rockwell's.
profile scene where they have him like where Steve
Yeah,
Merchant walks up to Sam Rockwell, and he's just like looking straight down, but his voice is just so like um, what is it? It's so can't think of the word.
all right. Well, I
Uh
looked it up. And I think he's like 6'4", and Sam Rockwell's 5'7".
Oh,
Um,
I thought Steve Merchant was way taller than that.
no, I looked it up. I'm pretty sure I didn't note it.
Alright. He's 6'7".
Oh. Well, then I don't know
Yeah, I
where I
knew he
got
was
that.
like insanely
So
tall.
he's a straight up foot taller
Yeah.
than Sam Rockwell.
So that's like if for perspective, Kylie's 6'4" or 5'4", so it would be when I'm standing next to her, that's the height difference. Jesus. Yeah,
Um,
that man is a tower.
yeah, that was a cute scene. Let me see what else I got here. That's about it, really. We kind of touched on all the major parts of it. It's definitely about like I think the main takeaway of the film is the children are born innocent, and they are manipulated, and it's from the culture of the world around them, of what they, obviously parents and how you're raised matters. So Jojo has a good mom, or whatever. But I think the whole point is that kids in a vacuum want to do the right thing. Like if you put different children in a room together, and if they haven't been told any crazy bullshit, like
Mm,
even if they have, they're gonna work it out and learn how to play together, and be friends. And that's something I think that adults could, remember a lot more, especially in America right now.
yeah. So Taika Waititi compared the premise of the film to the Rugrats by Nickelodeon, and saying how it comparing it to how it portrays violence through the fantastical lens of a child. I'm just reading this off of Wikipedia right now. That's very that's a great way of trying to say what I guess what we've been saying for the past two movies is and apparently he wrote this in 2011, so this would have been written right after Boy came out, which also makes sense
Because they're
because
very
they're
similar.
the similar with the same kind of like coming of age story with like more adult thing. One's obviously a lot more grounded, and one's obviously a lot more bigger and heavier, but with more fantasy, if that makes sense.
There was some.
Um,
I read that. Well, this is based. It's not. It is inspired by a book called Jojo Rabbit. And it's not a comedy. It's a serious book. I think I read that his mom suggested it to him, and he loved it. But then he spun it into what it is,
yeah,
now.
the
So I guess
the
it's
book
like
is called Caging
Rugrats,
Skies.
version of this book. Um, and I want to make sure I noted that that
Yeah,
it is
the book is
inspired by a
called
novel of the same name.
no, the book is actually called Caging Skies.
Oh, that's it. That's it.
Um, yeah,
2008
I'm just like
book.
looking at it right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I got it pulled
Uh,
up now.
but yeah, it's very interesting. Very interesting. And the yeah, it's made knowing now that it was written a year after Boy came out makes so much more sense on the why. Like this is a perfect accidental perfect pairing of movies to watch. Um,
Yes, absolutely, because of they're similarly structured, and they're similarly like, yeah, the themes are definitely similar.
yeah.
And just, yeah, the next time we watch him, if he doesn't have a new movie out, we should do What We Do in the Shadows and Hunt for the Wilder People, because it's
Mhm.
like also a boy, like a young. He's a little older. He's like teen, preteen boy. You know, growing up, and he's like an orphan or something. I can't remember what it is. But yeah, we'll do those two next time. Next time we do a Taika episode, we can take a break for a few weeks at least. It will be nice to do things in completion, but also when people get new movies out, that's an inspiration to watch an old one. So yeah. But all right, is there anything? I feel like we already kind of compared them a lot. But is there anything else we want to say with regards to the comparisons between the two films? I feel like we pretty much covered it.
Yeah, so we as we went, we pretty much linked all the red yarn together.
All right. Well, tell me, what are you gonna give Jojo Rabbit?
I think I would give this a. If I gave the other one a 4 and I like this one better, I'd have to give it a 4.5 then. But it's definitely not a 5.
I gave it a 4. Also because, like I said, I thought that they're similar movies. And I like them for different reasons. For sure. Like they're similar, but they have different strengths. Obviously the giant budget, but not giant, but much bigger budget of Jojo Rabbit.
Crazy though.
Actually, 14 million.
Yeah,
that's not that
big
bad
at all. It's a Fox Searchlight film, which means it's technically an indie film. Like that's their Searchlight is their like indie division at Fox. It's a high budget indie movie, but
there's no budget listed for Boy. I thought there might not be.
I would say Boy is like a 6-figure movie, like sub $1 million.
The only expensive things are the like the drawing animations, like the intro and stuff. But everything else would be pretty
in general.
Oh, and the end, the dance scenes. We forgot to mention the West Side Story knife fight.
Oh yeah.
So his dad's about to get his ass kicked for stealing this weed, and Boy starts imagining it as a West Side Story dance fight, and I'm like, oh, I was cracking up the wrist. I'm like, this is West Side Story. This is West Side Story. And then all of a sudden it cuts and it just shows this giant pitcher of beer getting splashed all over Taika Waititi's character, and they just get stomped. And like they cut, and you just see them all fucked up. I liked how they showed half of Alamain's face, and it's like, oh, he didn't get it as bad as the others. And then he turns his face and just like, oh fuck, he might have gone at the worst. But yeah, that was excellent the way that they did all that. This is so cool. This is so cool. Sorry. So there is some budget in there. Now honestly, I'm curious. The 14 million is honestly, I can't believe how good that movie looks.
With the actors they have in Jojo Rabbit, everyone must have taken a pay cut, because the actors alone would have cost like half of the budget.
Sam Rockwell is always somebody that is trying to do. If he believes in it, he will, do. He won't need a big budget. Scarlett Johansson sometimes also. Like a lot of the films she does in between Marvel movies. She did Marriage Story for Netflix. That's Noah Baumbach. She did earlier in the decade. She did Under the Skin, which is an A24 movie that's weird as fuck and is on the list. So she does do art projects too, and has throughout the decade. So that might explain why that she might have just wanted to work with Taika. Oh, we got to talk about one thing with Taika. So Taika recently there was a photo of him making out with two actresses two women at the same time, with Tessa Thompson and Rita Ora. I gotta show you this because this guy is just G'ing up right now. He's living his best life.
I'd heard about the photo, but I haven't actually seen it yet.
Here, I'll just put it on the main screen. Oh.
It happened at the same time. This whole thing happened at the same time where there was a lot of press from Marvel talking about Taika has his daughter on set of the new Thor, and then it just became a huge like whatever. But honestly, like who cares? If he's not married, he's just doing his own thing. It's not. Oh, excuse me, it's not the end of the world.
The snaps are taken following an all-night party. Excuse me. An all-night party at Watiti's home. Apparently they are a throuple.
Oh wow.
I mean, it sounds like my dude is on the top of the world and living his best life.
Yeah, that's nuts. How old is he too? Because I can't tell if he just like is one of those dudes that grade early or if he's like actually old.
He's in the
But
mid 50s, I'm pretty sure.
Oh wow, I would have. I was thinking mid 40s. That's nuts.
45. No, you're right. He's 45.
Okay, yeah.
I looked that up too. I just added 10 years to it. Good for him, man. Good for him. All right. So you said 4, or you said 4.5, and I said 4. And boy, we both said 4. I almost said 3.5, but I didn't.
Oh, I love that shot where Yorkie throws the knife and it bounces off the tree and stabs the kid.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh man, that's hilarious. Yeah, this is just a great movie. I don't have any negatives to say about it, to be honest.
Yeah, I think I'm good. I think I'm good on it. I recommend watching them both. Easy watches.
Very
fun,
easy
but his movies, other than Thor, usually feature, fun, and they're silly and they're comedy, but there's usually some emotional weight at some point. And Jojo, it comes pretty quickly, but boy, it's there as well. Yeah. So let's move on to final thoughts and wrap up. Think of Jerry Springer. Final thoughts. How long we've been going here?
We are at
a little after an
hour and 18 minutes.
All right. I mean, is there anything you want to plug, or anything you've been watching you want to mention before we start signing off?
I am finally caught up, or I'm one episode away from being caught up on My Hero Academia English dub, and been digging this new season a lot. And then just watching The Crown with Kylie.
Wow, The Crown's been on my list. I heard it's good. Me and Riss. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's like it should be more boring than it is because it's just talking, and everything that does happen is usually very uneventful. But the way that they write it and shoot it and everything, everything feels like a big deal because it's with the royals, and it just kind of hooks you in. But then when you step back, it's just kind of like, I mean, this isn't really that big a deal, but but every once in a while, like actual big shit happens. But I don't know, it just keeps me wanting to keep watching the next episode. But we'll see. We're in season 2 right now, so we've got a ways to go before I could potentially get bored.
Succession's a lot of talking, but it feels like the stakes are big. But it's just people talking in rooms for the entire show.
That's all The Crown is.
I love
literally that.
Me and Riss are just about to finish Twin Peaks. I've watched it like 4 times. This is her first watch, so we have like 4.5 episodes to go, I think, and so we're probably gonna watch a couple today, watch a couple tomorrow, and finish that. We'll try to take a little break before we go into the movie and the revival. But yeah, that's about it. We watched Letterkenny. I don't like it at this point. I hate it at this point. I liked it in the beginning. It's good for the first. I mean, it's definitely solid and has charm and is worth experiencing for the first while. But then it's like this style of comedy gets very played out, and if you watch it in a chunk, it does not hold up as well. We're watching the second half of it now.
We've binged like the first 2 seasons of it, and then we've been on a break from it. But I definitely want to finish watching it. I like it a lot.
I binged the first 4 the first time, and then quit. And now we're binging the last half. There's like 9 seasons, but they're only 6 6 or 7 episodes.
Yeah.
But Yeah, it is what it is. I'm just trying to clear things out. And before we start our next show, we were talking about what to watch next. She wants to watch Hannibal. I've been wanting to watch The Leftovers again after that movie idea I talked to you about. Because I think that it's adjacent, but I want to make sure I'm not ripping it off too much. I don't think I'm ripping it off, but I think that there's some subconscious inspiration with it. Yeah, I want to work on that. That shit we talked about. I want to maybe even together. It just force me to flesh it out. If you liked it as much as you did.
No, I think it's a great idea.
If you believe in it, and I think that would be a good idea. But
yeah, I definitely would pursue it. I think it's a solid idea.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
I was thinking. Oh shit! I had something instead of astronauts. It was a something to call it instead the other day, and I should have wrote it down. But it'll
call
come back
what
to me. Instead of astronauts.
Oh. Yeah,
I had another name for
how about I thought of a name that is in a game I never played? Did you notice that? The name that you played Control, didn't you?
Yeah, but I never noticed that either. I
don't know. I just Googled the word, and that's the first thing that came up. I feel like we're talking too much about an idea that to the podcast that is half talking to them. So yeah, let's we can wrap things up. What do you want to do next week? I was thinking, honestly, maybe it's not a good idea because we want to make sure we're flexible enough to watch a new movie or a pop culture zeitgeist film when it happens. But I think Luca is a movie that everybody's been talking about. People have been talking, not everyone, but people have been watching.
I reactivated my AMC A list, so I can go see as many 3 movies a week. Do this.
Yeah, I'm ready to start seeing movies in person too. But
we saw The Conjuring 3 at the theaters last week, and we were the only ones in the theater, which was nice. But it feel great just being back in the theater.
Riss wants to watch Luca, but for now, let's stick to the list. Let me get it.
I brought up to you. I texted you in the week about Mother, mostly because I was hanging out with my old roommates, and they got into a pretty heated argument over whether it's a good movie or not.
It's apparently really divisive.
One adamantly hates it and think anyone who likes it's a moron, and then the other one thinks it's a beautiful, awesome film that does a great job of doing what it tried to do. So but I've never seen it.
I have heard that it is. I've heard that it's good, but I also heard that it's not as deep as it thinks it is. And some people jack off to it as being this super deep film, and it's not that good. So, but I also haven't experienced enough. I can't remember what Red Letter Media said about it, because I know Jay talked about it on a Half in the Bag once. But I'm down to do Mother. Because
if you wanted to do another,
I've never seen it, so
double.
Do you want to do a double Aronofsky?
I was saying we can do that and Noah. They're both biblical, and they're both.
Fuck Noah, dude. I do not want to watch Noah. What about The Wrestler or Requiem for a Dream?
The Wrestler's dope. I've seen both of those.
You've seen Requiem for a Dream? Because that's supposed to be awesome.
That's the one with Wait, is that the one with? No, I'm thinking of a different movie. But I've seen The Wrestler. That's the one with Mickey Rourke, right?
Yeah. That's supposed to be really good.
Oh, Zach, so good. I watched that years ago. Yeah, really, you'd like that one. It's really good. But I've never seen. Requiem
I know that Requiem for a Dream is supposed to be graphic. I just don't know.
Is that the movie with
Jared Leto's in it?
Yes, I have seen it. Fantastic movie.
Ellen Burstyn, and Jared Leto.
There is a very graphic scene for a short bit, and it has to do with a double dildo, but it's a quick scene. But yeah, either one of those are both great movies.
All right, well, you've seen them both. I mean, you haven't seen Noah. I haven't seen Noah, but I just, as far as Aronofsky, I feel like I want to see that later in our journey with him than first, because I haven't. Yeah. I don't think I've seen a single film of his.
Darren Aronofsky? You've seen Gravity, haven't you?
Nope.
Or am I thinking is that a different? Am I thinking of a different
Okay,
director?
haven't seen Pi, which is supposed to be good. Haven't seen Black Swan, Noah.
Oh, Black Swan's great. Wow, how have I seen Aronofsky flicks? I didn't even realize I'm seeing so many.
You've seen Black Swan. You've seen
Yeah,
You've
that's
seen
good.
no. You've seen Black Swan, Wrestler, Requiem for a Dream. That's it, right?
I'm looking up his filmography right now.
Pi, Requiem for a Dream, Below, The Fountain, The Wrestler, Black Swan, Noah, Mother.
Okay, so yeah, I've only seen The Wrestler, Black Swan, and Requiem for a Dream.
All right.
I'm thinking of Alfonso Cuarón is the one who did Gravity. That's what I'm thinking of.
All right, yeah, let's do Requiem for a Dream then, and Mother.
Cool.
So we'll do one of his first features. Pie's supposed to be good too, like really good. It's black and white, or black. It's I think it's black and white.
Ooh. Yeah, it doesn't matter to me.
No, let's do Requiem. Well, I mean, if you want to see two that you haven't seen, I would rather do Pi than.
Honestly, I was gonna say let's do. I feel like the past couple weeks we've done one where you've seen.
That's what I'm saying. So yeah, I'm all right.
So I don't mind doing that.
Okay, so let's do. I would pick Requiem for a Dream, and then Mother. All right, there we go. We have our videos, movies for next week. So make sure if you want to follow along, make sure you watch them. We will be the YouTube of this will be up on Monday. I'm gonna upload it today, so there's no copyright bullshit. But I didn't use a lot of clips, so hopefully they don't get me for that shit. And yeah, well, next week is Aronofsky. And we're gonna do Mother and Requiem for a Dream, and I'm excited. Requiem for a Dream is 2000, and Mother is 2017. So it's a nice, healthy gap. Is this the widest gap we've done so far? Because I think we've been doing a lot of films closer together within the 2010s.
Yeah, I think so. This is a very wild movie. A lot of really cool like quick cut montage sequences of like the drug use stuff. It was very like you'll see the influence of that in other things. It's really good. It's a great movie. It's sad.
Next week I'm gonna fix my goddamn green screen because it has been just acting up. I think it's my camera. I think my camera keeps changing the white balance or the color because I might have left it on auto. But all right, let's wrap it up. My name is JP, and you can follow me at Slob Thomas. Kory?
My name is Kory Pakavish. You can follow me at Kory with a Story. I am finally back on Instagram, thankfully.
Yeah, I haven't been using mine, but maybe I will.
After my 1.5-year hiatus.
But yeah. Follow us. Follow the show. We're on YouTube. Best Boys on YouTube. Yeah, let's do it. See you next week. Watch these movies. Suck a butt.
Choo.
Poop poop.
Blah, 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 blah.